Welcome back to Optional Class Behind the Scenes. Today we're going to be talking a little bit through the stat changes that our characters went through last time. We're going to start over here with Adrien. Adrien, tell us about Clary and what you're thinking that change is going to look like.
So Clary cracked the books for the first time in her life, so I'm thinking a point to intelligence is going to be, was she successful? No, but she gave it a try. And then, uh, she's really been sort of coming into her own with having some sort of initiative, having a little more presence, and not just like being wishy-washy going with the flow. So I do think she's earned a couple of points in charisma.
Okay, so overall, what's that going to make your stats look like now?
So overall, my strength, dex, and con are still 6, 14, and 12. My intelligence is now 13. Wisdom is staying at 12 because I do think that she needs to just work on some more common sense, honestly, to earn some points there. And then charisma is up to 9.
Okay. All right. What about you, Rowan? Where's Henry looking?
Yeah, so I think Henry had some real ups and downs in the last couple of episodes. She's had some real moments of leadership and kind of charisma, approaching the bard really strongly, kind of guiding everybody into we're gonna go do this thing. So I did feel that bumping charisma was a good choice for her. So I put actually 2 points into charisma. So my charisma bumped up to a 15. And then other than that, she's had some real ups and downs. But there was a moment where I think that she felt almost left behind versus everybody else that was really in the library with the books. Everybody else is doing all of these really impressive things with the research, going through the books and finding all the different things, and she failed that so hard. Got nothing out of it. Got some help from some friends. And I definitely think that was a little bit of a moment of I want to be good too. And so I did put 1 point towards intelligence and kind of helping her out, with Yarrow's help, with Andy's help. She kind of learned some new ways to do research that maybe just opening books and pointing is not the best method for that.
I don't know what you mean.
All right, so we're looking for a lot of charisma and maybe some intelligence because you were feeling a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, intelligence is still only a 10, but
Oh, buddy.
So strength is an 11, dex is a 12, con is an 11, intelligence is 10, wisdom is still a 9, and charisma is a 15.
We have a not wise bunch of people here. Wren, how's Yarrow looking?
Okay, so this was a very hard decision, actually, because I felt for a little bit like the main thing that Yarrow did was intelligence-based. And I mean, I do still think Yarrow had some very good intelligence-based roles. Some of the best roles she's had all campaign so far. All 3 episodes of that. But on a totally meta level, it felt wild to hit 16 in a stat by session 3. So I'm only putting 1 point into intelligence. But also I think that that really helped boost her confidence a lot because she felt very helpful. Also, again, just like last time, 1 point's going into charisma because my poor girl Yarrow has never been around people her age, and so every session that she spends around more people, her charisma's getting a little better. And I think there was some very interesting moments last session where I was very purposefully having Yarrow become a little more bold and rude because of the sort of mask that was being used around matching these people around her, which I think goes into charisma, and then it also goes into wisdom, because it needs a certain level of insight that I don't think Yarrow usually has. She usually is the type that she has a lot of masks she uses, and they all are used in the wrong spot, generally, if she's not talking to posh adults. And so I think there was some insight there. If I remember correctly, it's been a hot second, if you can't tell by the blonde of it all. But let's be real. But I think I had some pretty good like insight rolls as well. And also I think it took some growth and wisdom for Yarrow to be comfortable sort of asserting herself a bit more and standing up to Henry and being like, no, we shouldn't leave on a camping trip without telling our parents. That's a bad idea. Which is just enough common sense for another point there. So I'm splitting it 1-1-1.
Henry's still debating that one. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, your parents would be disappointed. Mine would.
That's fair.
And so where does that leave Yarrow?
So I still have my greatest stat, of course, being a 5 in strength. We'll see how that goes. So I have a 5 in strength and 11 in dexterity still. That's
Okay.
still solid from last time's level. An 11 in con. Now a 15 in intelligence, a 12 in wisdom, and a 14 charisma.
Okay.
So all of the mental stats are a bit higher currently than my physical ones.
Low strength air 5.
Hey! Let's see if a camping trip changes that!
Robotic. Please.
Chop some wood, baby!
Adrien's definitely gonna have you out here.
Me
being
and my
like,
noodle arms.
being like, here, take my halberd. Because y'all have blunted weapons. So be like, here,
Sorry,
take my
Chopping wood with a halberd is diabolical.
Crazy.
And I need you to apologize right now.
You
Well,
have
we have Andy's tiny.
I'm assuming we're gonna
Size.
bring camping supplies.
You don't know what he's thinking. All right, Andy, where are you at?
So this was also kind of a hard decision for me, but ultimately, because it was hard for me because I felt like the biggest character moments for Andy were the fact that he lied to his dad, but then also the fact that he stood up to his friends. And I think together I decided that, like, what felt like the right stat for that, with the kind of, like, sheer force of will that both of those things took, was actually Constitution. So I've put all 3 of my increased points into Constitution.
Okay.
Okay.
That's so sick.
Baby tank. Baby tank. Baby tank.
Look at you with your hit points don't go up yet, do they?
They
You
don't.
have a level.
So
That's rough. That's rough, buddy.
So I added all 3 of the points into Constitution,
Yes.
which puts me at a 12
Sick as hell.
strength,
Insane.
Baby tank.
Baby tank.
Baby tank.
14 dexterity, 14 constitution, 11 intelligence, 14 wisdom, and 10 charisma.
Sick.
All right.
Look at you with all your 14.
I
Pretty
know.
good. That's pretty good.
Look
That's
at you with
unhit.
those stats.
So shockingly, we've got some min-maxers and we've got some pretty even.
I will defend min-maxing to my goddamn grave.
Same, actually, despite
Which
its
is wild
disgust
because
spread.
Jude, usually you usually
min-maxer.
like
I am usually the
min-max.
I am
gamer.
usually such a power gamer, but like I really don't know where Andy is falling, and I
Yeah,
have
I
ended
like
up with a
it.
really even spread. So
That's
we'll
sort
see
of
what
the
that
fun
goes.
of doing it like this, is it's like, it feels a lot more natural how everything ends up.
Yeah.
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 Like, I mean, I like min-maxing not because of the max. I mean, that part's fun. Love you.
Sorry. I will stop.
But because I like being very bad at things. I
That's
think
super
it's
fair.
very fun.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I think I'm really liking having our slow
Slow
stat
bells.
increases. I think
Yeah.
it's like, it makes it feel very more like motivated and like natural.
Yeah.
I
Like you really
that.
get to see what the character's going to be good at before you decide what
Yeah.
they're good at.
Well, and
Exactly.
in addition, I think it really helps me make character choices and think
Yeah.
about like Clary's personal growth.
Exactly.
So it helps me
And,
plan
like,
ahead a bit.
Yeah, like Yarrow's changed so much in like a day because she's really thrown in the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's
And
so
I think
much more to
especially
go.
for somebody like Henry, who's very like confident in what she does now, this is a really good chance to like really explore what
yeah.
she's not good at, rather than just like knowing your high scores and just moving with them all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys are having some fun with this. This is exactly what I hoped would happen
Who,
when
me
I came
having
up
fun
with this
in a game
idea.
of Dungeons and Dragons?
Great.
No!
As
Weird.
What is that?
I'm sorry, that came from my soul.
Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been Behind the Scenes, watching stat upgrades. So hopefully we'll catch you in episode 4. See you then.